what was it like there at the meeting?
Yes.
I mean, I remember
Oh,
what it was
sure.
like last year, but
Yes.
it looks like it was a lot
Where
better.
were you?
Well, I was in the building. I was sitting on the like right back side of the thing. So they were starting to let people in. Well, we came in, so it was super hot and I was super hungry, and they had a bunch of food trucks outside. I'm like, I need a taco. So I went out and got a taco. I got 2 tacos actually, and I met a really nice gentleman. He's local too. And then I went in and then taco guy, yeah. And then I came in, and then they're starting to seat people. I'm like, okay, I need to use the restroom. I gotta pee. So I went to pee, and then by the time I was back, like the whole thing was full. I'm like, damn it. So then we just found a couple of chairs on the right side to watch the whole thing. I thought this one had a certain vibe around it where people there, I think, one of the things I've noticed from other events that were a little bit different than this one, and probably is more similar to how events were before Tesla's explosive run in 2020 and 2021, was that the vibe was very much of people that were very long-term thinking and weren't really concerned about the share price. They were really way more concerned about the mission and what the company was doing. And I think that was reflected in the Q&A, because I thought the questions this time were awesome.
Yes.
Usually at the shareholder meetings, the questions are like, what do you think of, blah, like some random Elon question of like, oh, who you blah, blah, blah. But this one was like super pointed on what the business long-term ambitions are, getting some specific around some timelines. I just thought that the general tone of the presentation was obviously more forward thinking, but the questions were awesome. I really was very impressed with the questions, and I was very happy that Elon was giving some a little bit more direct answers than he usually would, and I think it's because of how the questions were framed. The factory looked awesome. I got to tour the General Assembly, the end of it. And that was pretty cool. Or end of line, rather. I was at end of line, and we saw a little bit of end of line, so that was kind of cool. Didn't really see too much. I saw the Cybertruck in person, which, I mean, guys, it looks insane. In the sun, they had it outside. I have a clip of it and everything on the channel. It just looks stunning. And I asked Cindy, producer wife, I was like, "What do you think?" She's like, "It looks so much better in person. It looks so much better in person." And I was like, "Would you buy one?" She's like, "No, it's too masculine." And I'm like, "That's great. That's good. That's the kind of thing I want to hear, right? It's too masculine." Good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you remember last year, right after when you and I met up right after the shareholder meeting. That was like the first thing I said to you and Cindy.
Where's mine, bro? Look at this guy. He brought himself a beer. He didn't bring. Wow. I'm just kidding. You deserve it, dude. You've been. By the way, thank you guys very much for running this. My God. I'm so thankful for you guys. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Nico. Sorry.
No, answer the next job.
It's a half. You don't want this one.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But that was the same thing I said to you right after. It's like, man, like I have a Cybertruck on reservation, but seeing it in person, I was like,
oh,
whoa,
man.
It's just like it's the only product, it's the only thing in the world I've ever had that moment where it's like a picture doesn't capture this. And I don't know how else to say it. I know that sounds fanboyish, but when you see it in person, you'll understand. Like, it's like, whoa. This is just way more badass than I thought it was.
Yeah,
especially outside. I gotta make this point. Outside with the sun shining on it, and you can see the reflections of people on. Like when you watch the video, you can see people's reflections on the body panels and just the lines. It's absolutely stunning. I cannot say it enough. It will blow people's minds. If you haven't seen it in person, you're not ready. You're just not ready to see this.
I saw it in LA at a museum exhibit.
At the museum.
What happens is exactly what Nicholas was doing as he was describing it. Your eyes get big. They kind of open.
Yeah.
You're like, that's your reaction.
Yeah.
It really is amazing. It really is.
It really is. Let me share some notes real quick. So I actually wrote down some things that I wanted to share.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. I'm not usually prepared for many things.
How many people, by the way? How many people were there?
600, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
600. Yeah. It wasn't like a huge event, but it was. By the way, thank you to everyone who stopped in and said hi. I mean, it was awesome. Like, it was so cool. Just 2 steps. Hey, I know you. And I'm like, what's your name? I had to do that for like 3 hours straight. It was awesome. It was so flattering. So the Kobo comment was awesome. Like them sort of just saying, yeah, we don't do any, there's no children that we know of. We're going to set it up. And then long term, we're like the huge majority of our batteries are going to be Kobo free. So it's not a big deal. I thought him really saying that macro was not going to be good and like giving it a 12-month timeline. Before he said by Q1 of next year would be fine, but 12 months from now next year is like Q2, Q3 potentially. So it's like reiterating that, but still framing the story in a very positive light, I thought was very interesting.
Gene Munster, by the way, commented he thought he was sandbagging.
Sandbagging. Yeah.
You think so?
On that. That's what he said. I don't know what he meant, but that's what he said.
Yeah. Good.
That comment was specifically because it was like right on the heels of them also talking about pricing. And so the fact that they've been incrementally raising the prices a little bit, he's like, it seems like the data is showing Elon that right now the economy is actually okay, but he wants everyone to just be aware that maybe things could go south from here, even though it seems like things are kind of going back in the other direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Confidence on FSD. I mean, the guy is so freaking confident. And when he pulled the room about FSD is it good, and everybody, I mean, it was basically unanimous. Yeah, this one's really, really good. So he's super, super confident on FSD, but it still needs to be, and we need to see it with our own two eyes. But I'm seeing it. So I just think everybody else has to see it. Model Y 2023 global domination. We knew that. They're going to be making a lot of mega packs. What was it? They did the lithium refining because no one else was doing it, right? So they're not getting into it as a supplement. They're getting into it out of desperation.
They were also doing, I was going to say, it was mostly not lithium also. It was spudmodium or some other element.
Yeah, some other random.
It wasn't really lithium. It was something else.
Yeah. We saw the picture of the Model 2, like from the side, right? The compact car. Didn't they show the picture on the presentation?
Was it identified?
Here,
well,
it was like the silhouette, right?
We had differing opinions. Nicholas thought it was the third gen.
It's 100% the third gen.
I thought it was the.
I'm sharing it right now.
Of the Model 3.
It's not. It was totally the third gen.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
I'm sharing it.
Oh, you sharing? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's 100% the third gen, without a shadow of a doubt, because that's what it is.
That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a Model 3
I believe you.
Yeah.
This is totally.
He said, we have exciting new products, whatever, and this was up there. And he said, but we're not ready to show it yet. And this is what they had up there.
This is 100% the compact car.
So it's the Tesla RAV4.
It's like the Model Y Lite. You know. Yeah. But I think the big takeaway. Go ahead.
How is it compact?
It's going to be small. Yeah. So I mean, you can't really tell the
proportion.
Athletic Greens. Use my code in the description below.
It's a 2-door.
Thank you, producer wife.
It's a 2-door?
I think it's going to be a 4-door though.
4-door. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's.
Yes.
But look at how short the
be.
bonnet is, right? The bonnet is or the bonnet, the hood. I'm British now. I heard bonnet a lot while I was there. The hood and this is totally. I need to sit down and analyze the hell out of this picture because there's so many implications from this. One, the car's probably a lot bigger than people thought. It's going to be a hatchback most likely. It's going to use a lot of the same form factor as the Model Y. You can kind of see the same design language on the sort of back, like the ass of the car. You have that usual, like the hunch on the back, 2 wheels that you usually get. So, and this like lip on the spoiler is very Model Y-ish. So, so we have, in my eyes, this compact car is going to be a lot more Model Y than this brand new design. And I think they do that by design to make sure that the volume is as big as humanly possible. So we saw it. We just need a little bit more detail.
When he said the two, he was talking about the 2 vehicles and they were going to do 5 million units. Did you have any understanding of what those 2 were?
I thought that was a huge sandbag, but to me, that was the compact car and the van.
The van.
Yeah.
2.5 million of the van.
I think that. Yeah, I was going to say that's a lot.
I think he's saying 4 of the compact and then 1 of the van, or 4.5 of the compact, 1 of the van. Yeah. So combined, they'll do 5, but I bet you they'll do a lot more. Yeah. And then he also said Cybertruck could be 500,000 a year. That he just said we'll just sell it to the demand that's there. And I have a hard time believing that the max production for that car is 250,000 units per year. I think that's impossible. There's going to be way too much demand for that damn thing. So if there's a sandbag, it was there.
If there's 2 million reservations, that's going to take forever to get mine.
Yeah, you might wait until 2035 to get yours, you know?
Or else the price is going to be like 295,000 for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't complain. We can't even buy it.
You should move to the United States where there's freedom, Mimi. Okay.
Mimi,
Get on
I
it.
have an extra bedroom, Mimi.
There you go. Move in with Richard.
Yeah.
The bot seems a lot further along than I expected. I mean, they have a bunch of bots built that can walk, so that's super exciting. I'm still need to temper my expectations, but to me, that's the signal there is like, hey, there's a lot of movement there. So
Did you see
very,
one
very
of the
cool.
engineers that almost passed out in glee when the bot did some
Yeah.
makeup of something? There was a guy behind it who almost passed out. He was so happy.
Oh yeah. From the video, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't blame him. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
But
Then
the bot will probably take a little bit more time than just this visual shows, because the physical parts of it happens very quickly. It's the software, the march of the nines that will take time.
Yeah, at least another
100%.
6 weeks. At least another 6 weeks. I would
Yeah.
think.
two, at least two. Let's be fair. And then he said that the majority long-term value the majority of Tesla's long-term value will be by far Optimus, right? Which is a very long-term statement that's like very Elon-ish, but within the context of FSD being 70%, like a car with FSD being 70% margin, I think it gives us a way to actually sit down and do the math and see, okay, so what could be the implications from a market cap perspective? I think for the very first time in Tesla's history, we have a way to sit down and use guidance from the company from a mathematical perspective to set a range of how the company's thinking about the valuation of these businesses. So that's what I'm going to be spending the next God knows how long figuring out how to put together. So
Just
I
real
thought
quick,
that was a huge. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I know we want to temper our expectations that this is way down the road, but keep in mind it's only been a year and a half since they had nothing and they announced the idea of Optimus to where they are now, a year and a half. So if you think 2030, that's another 7.5 years away, or 7 years away, 6.5 years. Man, where are they going to be? And again, long march to nines to be able to do everything, but Optimus doesn't have a safety limit on it, really. Right? It can be good at a handful of things and go out and start
it's not a missile that's going down the road that could kill their entire family.
Well, what I found interesting is he tied
Hopefully
AI.
not.
He tied, I found interesting is he tied AI to Tesla, not to that.
Yes.
Which gave me a lot of comfort, and he also tied his tenure at Tesla to a time when AI was basically in a safe place, and that Tesla would be taking a prominent role. I don't know if you heard that.
Yes, I did. Yeah, like he basically said, I'm going to be here long term, and I have it down as one of my notes. I'm going to be here long term because I almost have to, because I want to make sure AI is safe. You know.
Yeah.
But then in my head it went like, okay, but you said the same thing about OpenAI. Now we have ChatGPT ruining everyone's life. So maybe you shouldn't be involved.
He took in the interview, he took responsibility for that. He said he was an idiot. He said he was an idiot.
Yeah. And
well, he also said in the sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say on CNBC, he did try to put a contextualization on how Tesla is an AI company and why they are actually more advanced than others. And the example he gave was, let's say we told Microsoft and OpenAI to create FSD, and you told us to create a ChatGPT. We would win by a landslide. We could easily build a ChatGPT. They cannot easily build an FSD. And so just to use that as a framing of where Tesla is when it comes to AI. And it's
like almost like putting context into difficult, like the levels of the problem.
Yeah, if you think about it, what they're using just for lane grammar is ChatGPT almost, right? That's what it is.
I think he was trying to suggest the progress, not the complexity.
I think,
but also,
I thought
think about it.
Suggested it was relative progress, that Tesla was much closer to the end than Google would be to their end.
Well, he made an exact example. If you have them do what we do and we did them.
If you really go a little bit deeper, right? What is a large language model? It's basically AI that's designed to interact with humans through or via a human-computer interface. In this case, a screen and a keyboard, etc. ChatGPT is that. the next part of actually interacting with the real world, that's what Tesla is doing. And if we try to put it in terms of how Elon likes to talk about it, the bandwidth at which the interaction is happening between, let's say, a chat like an OpenAI chat GPT is really low versus the bandwidth of the interaction between Tesla AI and the real world is really, really high. You've got 8 cameras, you've got audio, you've got a bunch of things coming in. So that bandwidth is really, really high. And it's really difficult to build that because your inference engine is essentially working at those many times the bandwidth that an OpenAI is potentially doing. So
Gotcha.
when your inference engine is working at such a high bandwidth, your training is also going to be so much more complex. The data requirement is going to be so much more. So yeah, I mean, just to put in context what Elon said, it's right that what Tesla is doing, and nobody really realizes that in the larger world, is so much harder. And the fact is that a lot of Google has done this before. Like Google search is probably one of the best AI that we've had till date, right? AI is nothing but like a recommendation and interaction engine. So it's probably one of the best AIs that we've had. And how did they do it? They deployed it into people's devices, in computers, browsers, phones, right?
Yeah.
And they basically made all of us, you and me, into, they used us, gathered our data to make it sell better. And that's exactly what Tesla has done. But nobody else is doing it in this interaction with the real world AI.
Gotcha. Yep. Makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And those were my high level notes. I mean, those were my biggest takeaways from that. So I need to go jump on Herbert's channel for like 5-10 minutes because I committed to his. So I'm going to go jump on his. If y'all want to continue, feel free to do so. I want to thank you all so much for driving this stream. My God. Thank you so much. Seriously.
Hans, real
Man.
MVP.
Yes.
Everybody
The
here.
GOAT. Everybody, let's give Hans a hand right here. My goodness.
Actually, I was
Your
gonna say,
production team is shaping up, Farzad.
it's a tribute.
Listen.
It's a tribute to Hans and a tribute to you. Also,
it's a community, man. I mean, we built something really special here. I mean, the fact that I was able to go there and really take it in and come back, and y'all are still having an incredible conversation, and I can sit down and give this guy a nice old hug. And we met on the internet, and I wish I could give you guys a hug too, every single one of you. I mean, it's truly a pleasure. It's truly a pleasure, and I just want to thank you guys so much. Seriously, it was amazing. So do you guys feel better now about Tesla that you did before today? Or do you feel the same?
Yeah, I feel settled that Elon's there for the duration. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he looked in much better psychological position. I thought he looked much more relaxed, and I think the fact that the new CEO takes a burden off him, I think that was a very big positive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
It seemed like 100% positive news. Like,
yeah,
there was nothing today. I'm sure that media will find something to crap on the stock over, but yeah, it's like all positive things.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
But
all right, if you guys
strangely,
keep going, you can.
last thing, the stock's actually up in after hours.
1%.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's up.
The first
Green
percent
is
of May,
green.
baby. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna let you do what you want to do. Whenever you wrap it up, just send it over to Herbert's stream if they're still going.
Yeah, I think we should
just
go
gonna wrap
ahead
it up?
and yeah.
You guys have been almost
Unless
5
there's
hours.
anything.
How's your lower back feeling?
I used the chair. It helped.
Oh, you did. He
Yes,
cheated.
I cheated.
You guys let him use the chair. He's supposed to be standing the whole time. He's supposed to have lower back problems.
No.
This is the
You
whole
know,
thing.
I've
We're
asked you
gonna
like
go-
3 times if you use a
Yeah.
chair, and you've told me no every time. Now
I don't.
know.
I don't.
But there's
use
a
the
chair
Where's the
there.
chair?
But there's a chair.
It's outside.
I
It's
had to
not in
go
the
get it and
studio.
bring it in here.
Don't blow up my spot, bro. I don't have a chair in here. You know what? Goodbye.